Testing. 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 Hey guys, if you're just joining us, just give me 2 minutes. I just got to set something up here real quick. I've been having some audio issues. Back to the old issue again. I got these. Hey guys, if you're just joining us, just give me 2 minutes. I just got to set something up here real quick. I've been having some audio issues. Bluetooth wireless headset that has a built-in mic, and it really cancels out the background noise. But for some reason, it's just reacting with my my recording software, my streaming software, and I don't know why it's doing it. It's driving me crazy. It'll work for a little while, and then it won't work, and it'll work for a little while, and then it won't work. So it's really driving me bonkers here. So anyway, that's if you give me 1 minute here, I will get this all set up, and we'll be good to go. Hopefully you can hear me. Okay, that's better. So I'm not going to be too long here this morning or this evening, wherever you're joining us from. I just want to just discuss the market quickly, look at a couple of potential trade options, and go from there, because I had a I did not do a live trading session yesterday, only because there really wasn't much to talk about. If you guys were following the markets all day on Tuesday, you'd notice it was basically a other than, I guess, the, oh no, sorry, this is right now. But this was Tuesday's trading. So I didn't do a live session because basically we were actually looking for a short. So Euro USD, we actually called the short out, and we wanted price to run up to, and this was yesterday, we wanted price to run up to 122.35, and it ended up tagging it after hours. So after into the Asian session, it actually tagged that. But the day trading, I was expecting a move downward, the continuation lower, and we just didn't get that yesterday's trading, but now it's starting to kind of come to fruition here now. So anyway, like I say, I mean, if you look at the dollar index, yesterday's trading again, I'll just go down to an hourly. You can see this was yesterday's trading, Tuesday. It just not a great day. It was more of a consolidation day, just sort of hunting stops below and above the market and taking them out. And we pretty much saw that straight across the board. You can see this is the cable here. This one actually did stream up a little bit, but still very, very you know, choppy and didn't really go anywhere. I mean, the entire day was a 60 pips. So certainly if you were anticipating a long here, you could have got in down here and got 60 pips. I was not anticipating a long, and I'll be honest with you. I was actually anticipating a sorry guys, just one last quick note. Yeah, no, I was anticipating a run down. Sorry, I obviously can't multitask, so there's two things I can't do at the same time. One is talk and the other was type something different than what I'm speaking about. So I admit it, I have limitations. I can't do it. Anyway, enough typing, more talking. So the cable, I actually put out a signal as well too yesterday for the market to dump, and I ended up canceling it because we were looking at, and I can drill down in here. So I was looking for the Asian range right here, and you can see where price started running off of this range here, and I actually put my entry in at 139.60, I believe it was, right up in here. Okay, so basically I wanted price to trade just above this short-term high here and reject, and we actually went down. So when I started noticing the market running down first and taking out the lows from the Asian range, that's the opposite of what I wanted to see, and obviously you can see the result that ensued from there. Now we're getting a nice sell-off here, so I'm just going to flip over to the US dollar real quickly, just discuss this just in a real brief nutshell. We saw a nice power move up off of these lows down in here, which it failed to get into, and I've been expecting a bullish move on the US dollar now since, so I don't know, somewhere down in here when we came down and we failed to make a lower low off of this low here, and we rallied up, and really, and just ignore this wick on here. This is just my particular broker that I'm using on this demo account, and this does not exist on numerous other platforms, so disregard that wick there. But when they failed to really come up and really close higher and run these highs in here, and then traded softer, and then again second time it failed to come back down and clear out those lows, like I say, I'm expecting them to come in and fill in this range right here and start trading off the bottom of these lows here. So that comes in at about 91.40 to 91.50. I'm expecting a big bull move here on the US dollar to ensue this week, and to do that, I mean, the other thing they could do is they could sit here and chop this around here and just consolidate this pair above the these two highs right here that you can see. And maybe I'll zoom this in one more time for you guys. It might be too big, but that could be the other move too, is just sit here and consolidate this thing. They had a nice little pullback on Tuesday's trading, failed to go any lower, and so far out of the gate starting on Wednesday trading, it's been a nice big bull move up higher. Now what would negate this theory here is if we fail right about where this red line is right here, so about 90.70. If we fail to get higher than 90.70, and I'm not talking about wicking, I'm not talking about doing this or price just runs up and grabs these highs and then just wicks. I'm talking about closing higher than that line there. Then I am going to expect this thing to start chugging and continue to chug higher and finish off the week stronger, and again up into here. And I've been watching this now and waiting for this to transpire for a while, because it's giving me a number of other setups on other foreign currency pairs that I believe is coming to fruition here very, very quickly. And again, this is nothing new. I've been talking about this for a while. Ultimately, I do believe we'll probably end up seeing lower prices on US dollar longer term. So once this month gets finished up here and we start trading into May and into June, I would expect this to resume lower, but I believe they're going to come up in here. They're going to clear out some stops, soak up some liquidity. Now, the big caveat to that is if this right here, see this consolidation area right here? If this area right here gets broken, then we're going to look at further continuation to the upside. It should not need to go up there. You can see here price has been balanced fairly nicely in this range here. Came back up, traded to the lows of this consolidation here, and traded away. We've since been trending sideways, and now it looks like it's breaking higher. So that'll be kind of, I'm not suggesting it's going to go higher than this. All I'm saying is if it does, I believe the downward spiral of the US dollar may be paused momentarily. It could still roll over and continue lower. You know, the U.S. economy is doing pretty much everything, the U.S. president's doing everything he can to pretty much piss off the entire world, and everybody may start to dump the U.S. dollar and quit buying it. We were actually having a chat on our trading chat room here the other day, how, you know, countries like China is dumping the petrodollar, and, you know, they're not continuing with their buy program on U.S. Treasuries, so they're not buying. They're not basically buying any U.S. debt. They're starting to get rid of it and sell off on it. You know, and how many other countries are going to start following suit? Especially when you have that whole BRICS organization. And this isn't the topic for that discussion today. I'll go into a longer, in-depth one on that one another time. And just sort of discuss the relationships with, you know, BRICS and the dollar, and, you know, even China's SDRs that they're putting out. That's going to be a game changer as well. And the big move in that direction is the refusal to trade oil and import oil in U.S. dollars. So they're going to be the first, won't be the last. And there's going to be a lot of countries following suit. So the U.S. has got to definitely do something to start propping up their dollar. Otherwise, it's going to slip away in them in a big hurry. It's going to devalue, and then it's going to be trouble city. So anyway, I guess long story short, you know, to try and wrap this up, I think we're going to be continuing higher. What will negate that is if it fails to get above this high here and scoop the highs and close higher, then it'll either do one of two things. It'll chop in this range, or it could even dive back down a little more. And I've got some areas marked in here on the chart. 90.35 is a fairly significant level. I'm going to just dial down to the hourly. 90.35 to 90, I guess, you know what, I'm just dial this in a little bit better. About 90.20. I don't like that level. If I could grab this. I like about 90.25. So I'm going to suggest that if we lose this level here, 90.25, and basically this small consolidation level here, if this starts getting tagged into and closing lower, then we'll probably go lower into the week. But right now it's shown a nice bullish move, tagged off the small consolidation area that it created on Monday, and has since rejected and is moving higher. But now the next level that we're looking at, it's pretty much trading up to it right now at 90.70. So if it doesn't want to see any willingness to continue higher than there, then we could still leak lower on this and finish lower on the week. So that would be Tuesday's trading creating the high of the week, Wednesday lower, Thursday lower, and Friday, who knows where that could go. So that's kind of what we're looking. But I think they've pushed the U.S. dollar up here again. You know, for the 3rd time here, and for them not to come up and run in here, that may just signify that they're going to continue this consolidation, and we could be seeing things just chopping sideways for the next foreseeable future. But if they do start to run up, snag that liquidity up here this week, then I think that could kick in the sell program, and we could see this thing roll over. And again, the only thing that would negate that, again, is if this guy right here was traded into and through, and then that would basically be all bets are off. We can pretty much forget about this, the idea of this trading down lower into this consolidation level, because they're probably going to want to take it higher. And maybe this is the bottom. I'd be surprised if it was the bottom, to be honest with you. I think there's a lot of liquidity that they're leaving under here, and I think they're going to want to drive it. Like, they haven't run stops since here, so there's they ran it up, came back down, didn't grab the stops under here, ran it up, failed to go lower here, so there's stops here, there's stops here, and all the way up. Traders have been moving their stops all the way up. So again, tons of liquidity above here for everyone going short. They're going to pop up, snag them, and probably drop lower. So that's sort of what we're looking at there. On the euro, it's going to be the exact opposite. Now these levels in here, 121.50 to 120.80 or 121.90. That's the area, that's sort of the money zone that I'm looking at. I think they're going to run I think they are going to run down, that's a horrible color, into this area this week. And I'm not necessarily going to consider this area as a continuation to the downside again. So it's going to be the mirror opposite of what the US dollar is going to be doing. I'm expecting a bounce. So I'm expecting them to come down, soak up the liquidity under the market here, and ram this thing higher. Now, just look at this on the hourly. One second, guys. I just got to turn off a heater here. So I think what we could see now is, again, price stabbing down lower, of course, and I'd be looking for an area right around 2130 to see if there's any resistance there. I'd love it if they traded back all the way back down to 2080, but I could see them bouncing price at 2130, 2120, somewhere in that area. So my eyes going to be going to that, but I am expecting them to jam this thing lower, and again, take out the lows here, take out this low here, and that's a low right there. So those two lows, this one here and then this one here, are going to be next on the hit list. I think this is just a shallow retrace, and look where they traded right up to, the old lows right here. The old lows of these two consolidation candles right there, is they traded right back up into there, and so far we've been rejecting them. Now we're on the hourly, and you can see how the week has started out. Monday opened way up here, so you see this, that's the weekly open right there that I have marked out. And we have traded a ways away from there. Now, if price fails, it's going to do it right around where this blue line is. Whoops. So, right around 12200. You could even say big figure, 12200. That's fine there. I think we could see, if price does not want to go lower, we could see price run back down to tag that and then run higher if we're going to see higher prices on Euro USD. Now, the other thing I want to draw your attention to is this right here. You can see this. What's that? Other than a very, very fat line that I got to thin out. It's two equal highs that I'm... If I could get this thing to... Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties on the old line generator here. 475. Okay, so you can see that those two equal highs right there. That is a huge target that has liquidity written all over it. So where are the stops? If you're ever wondering where the stops are and where all the liquidity is in the market, all you got to do is look for any equal highs. That's where they are. That's the artificial resistance level that all the market makers are creating, and they're saying, yeah, there's we're going to fake everybody out here, and we're not going higher here, and we're going to trade all the way back up, fake everyone out, not go higher, and we're going to sink it. Now, they could sink it again. They could come back down and sink it down into here and leave those two equal highs for, you know, the rest of this week and into next week. By all means, there's definitely that possibility. Or, like I say, we could see price get weaker and bounce off this 2200 level. And if it does that, if it stabs down in here into about the next 2 hours, and does not want to see any willingness to continue lower than that, then my eye is going to go right here, and I think that could be the long trade on the day, and this will fail to go lower, and we'll see this probably end up breaking the weekly open up here and potentially trading all the way up into this level up here. Basically, you see the confluence here where price really worked this 2335 level. That could be where we're headed. So, you know, we're just going to have to watch that. You know, Tuesday could have created the low of the week and it could trade higher. But I think that they've got the US dollar up into this area here. And I personally think they're going to jam it up one more time. And that should drop the Euro USD into this sort of blue sort of money zone right here. And then I'd be looking at getting into some long positions down in here. So that's sort of what I'm looking at transpiring. Same type of idea with the pound dollar. The pound dollar, however, did see a bit higher of a retracement. Just sort of right into a logical area, though. These lows right in here, it's just kind of been tagging off of that. So that's a very, very logical area for them to come back into. Just, and you know what, I bet you can pull a fib on that. and I bet you the fib will be from here down to the lows, 72% retracement level. So very, very high confluence area for a reversal. And look what's down here though on the cable, and I just actually noticed that right now. So I would be honestly expecting them to run. See these relatively equal lows down here? I would expect them to run that. I don't think they're going to just leave that liquidity sitting there and then jam this thing all the way higher and start trading all the way back up here. I think they're going to come back down, and I think they're going to take those equal lows down there. So, and I'd actually be interested if I saw price trade back up. So let me just pull this 15-minute up here. If I saw price trade back up into here, somewhere in this 39.70 level, 39.75 to 39.80 level, I think I'd be looking at getting a short in and targeting these lows right down here. And that'd be about a nice 60 pip trade. I'd probably actually target about 10 to 20 pips lower than this for a stop run. And you know, we'd have to wait and see what's going to ensue for the rest of the week. But what would negate that is if price were to trade up to here, and if it got any higher, and honestly, you could really keep this as a very, very short stop on this thing. So let's say you got in at 39.75, you could literally use this right here as your sort of no-go zone. So what would that be? About a, you know, you could even make it an even 15 pip stop. So you could potentially have about an R, a 4-to-1 reward to risk ratio trade here. You know, here's your risk, which would be 15 pips, your reward being 60 plus, you know. So it could even, I mean, if it does a 20 pip run, that's a 5-to-1 reward to risk ratio there. So that would be ideal numbers, and that would be a nice target. So that's actually what I'm going to be looking for here. Again, what would negate that? If we trade higher than this level here, I'm not interested, because it may start trading higher back up into these lows in here and potentially take out that high. But again, guys, I got to be honest. Now, I just want to confirm this with the Euro GBP. We do see some leaking on the Euro GBP. As you can see here, it is trending softer. But what they'd like to do is consolidate this pair and manipulate euro and pound. So they'll let them drop or run. So you see here, this has been running higher, and the pound dollar has been running lower in unison. It's whatever that pair does, this does the opposite, obviously. But what they like to do, because if they are dropping both pairs at the same time, the Euro USD and the pound dollar, they'll manipulate the Euro GBP by consolidating it, and then they'll put the squeeze on both Euro and pound dollar, and then that would be in correlation with the run higher into the US dollar. So couple of balls you got to juggle on that one there, just to sort of look at the dynamics between them. But that's sort of what I'm looking at, and I believe I'll be issuing a trade to my all the guys that if we don't get this running off right now. This thing could just start screaming lower right now and completely miss the trade and not even come back up into here. The one thing I want to check real quick while I've got the window open is Wednesday, April 25th. Absolute lack of news events. Like, there's none. There's crude oil inventories at 10:30 a.m. New York time, and there's a very, very late in the day Bank of Canada governor speech. Nothing happening. So they're going to feel free to run these pairs without the issuance of any major news. So we shouldn't see any real volatility, spikes, or random crazy price action. We should just see nice pure price action running one way or the other. So that's sort of what I wanted to talk about. US CAD was actually one I just wanted to briefly discuss as well too. They've been running this thing sideways, unfortunately, and they're really banging up into this area here. The more they bang this thing up into here, it makes me believe that we could see this thing finally roll over, and could be in unison with the US dollar. Now, just look at this right here. You see this? I mean, this was a bit of a turtle soup right here. but relatively equal highs in here with these right here. So there could be a lot of liquidity sitting in here. What they could do is power this up, turtle soup it, and then drop it. I'm not necessarily bullish on US CAD yet. However, there is one other thing I want to just bring to your... Actually, I got it on the chart right there. You see what this thing has done in terms of the fib retracement. 61%, almost ran the 72% retracement level. Very, very high probability for retracements in those areas, and it actually acted beautifully off of it. So if it has any willingness to get through this level, this consolidation area right in here, I'll be looking for wicks to start forming, liquidity to grab, and them to roll it over. What would negate that is if they came in and closed above this consolidation high here. I think we're going to be going higher, and we could potentially be making another run back up into this level. So we'll watch for US CAD. I want to take a short on it. I want to take a short really bad. However, look at this chop. This was all Tuesday. They ran this thing up beautifully on Monday and chopped it sideways, and so far we still haven't cleared this chop yet. So until it either does a quick spike up and then a rejection, I'm not getting short until I see that. So keep an eye on that one. And then finally, finally, I guess, not much to talk about on crude oil. Had a down day today. To be honest with you, this is a bit of an ugly bit of price action right in here that we're seeing, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about this until it actually breaks a definable level. Now, what we could be seeing, you see how price exploded, and I'll just do this here. So you see how price ran up here, consolidated, brief retracement, just back down to the small consolidation level and into these highs over here. And I'll actually drop a level right on there. You can see how price reacted beautifully off of these old highs and these highs in here. Expanded aggressively. They could be coming back down once, twice, just to kind of run back into this level in here. These sort of small consolidation area right in here, they could want to drop it down into there and then run it higher. So I will be watching for that. But right now, this whole block of price action in here for the past week, nothing much I can do with that. It's just sort of, you know, a bit of a failure swing there, run up, failure swing, and they're just sort of chopping sideways. So until it drops down into here, I wouldn't really be looking at doing anything with it until then. So if you're a crude oil trader, I'd maybe sit on your hands on that pair here just for the short term, especially because crude oil inventory numbers are coming out tomorrow, and you know, just depending on what the numbers are, the manipulated numbers that they like to put out constantly, it could drive it higher or push it lower, because there's a bunch of areas in here, this area here, that I think are prime for them to come back down and run into. There's some areas just sort of under this low here that I think they could run price back into. So we'll sort of be watching for that as a potential level of support for price to bounce off of if it breaks these areas in here. So, and lastly, orange juice. This kind of pissed me off a little bit. I was looking for a reversal. I was calling. If you go back to, I think I started talking about it in February as price was declining through here. You see how early January we had this nice pop, and then it just slowly started to come back down. I was looking for this level in here to see a bounce off of it, and to be honest with you, it traded a little bit deeper, and this one candle kind of spooked me out a bit, and then we saw this big candle push up through here, and then again I missed this day, unfortunately. It rebounded. I didn't get a long off. I was talking about getting longs, and I didn't get a long off, unfortunately, and it basically traded away. It was an opportunity missed. It was my fault. I didn't get a signal out in time. But I believe we're going to see much, much higher prices on orange juice. It's sort of the time of the year where it gets very bullish, and I believe the first area of targets are going to be up into this consolidation area here. So really what you could do, you could look at this thing. Price is moving up nicely here. Any move back down to the highs of this consolidation area in here would be pretty much, I think, fair game for a buy. I'll be looking at that at 14500, so we'll just sort of wait and see on that one. I think I'll set an alert on that one because I think we're going to be targeting the 159, 160 areas up in there very, very easily. So, and then sugar, I was looking for a drop down and a potential rejection into this area here. Went a little bit deeper, so now I'm going to be watching it here. It'll be the same thing as orange juice, though. You see how orange juice came down. They dropped lower down here, stopped, and then came up, and then kind of came back down briefly, and then stabbed up. That's basically what sugar would do if we are going to see a bull run higher. So there's nothing there that we got to worry about until this starts to reject higher and clean these highs up here. It'll trade back down, and that's where you get long, and then you can shoot for the moon. And I'm shooting for way up here. See these two equal highs up there? This could be a big, big monster trade. Very excited for it. Can't wait for it to happen. Look at this candle here, though, on the daily. Big rejection. So I'm going to see if this wants to continue or continue downward or start to rebound higher. And lastly, Bitcoin. I don't actually really have a lot to say about this. It's retracing nicely. You see this move down here, this big bearish move down here. I mentioned earlier, you typically see retracements anywhere from 61 to about 79% retracement level. We're starting to creep up on that now. So again, if you're a Bitcoin holder and you're looking for longs, I wouldn't necessarily get too excited that it's going to jam up higher than 12,000 yet. I would expect them to want to get up into 80% retracement level. Then maybe you could be looking for it, but they could just roll this thing right over, and that's what I'm expecting them to do, to be honest with you. I think they're going to take it lower than here. Now, the other scenario they could do is very easily is pop it up above here. And then just kind of fake everybody out with a big liquidity grab, because there's a ton of liquidity up here, and then smash it back down. That's definitely an option. So I'm just not too happy with Bitcoin. Not to say that I'm not too happy. I'm just not very interested in trading Bitcoin right at the moment. But there is a very, very strong area of support right up in here, just so you're aware. So just keep that in mind, guys. Right in this area right here, there's a very, very big area of potential support. Sorry, I keep saying support. Potential resistance at, call it 10.5, 10,500 level. That would be a very, very big area of resistance in there, in my opinion. So we'll see if they get up to it. But that's about all I wanted to discuss. Just a real quick session today. Dave will be in tomorrow trading the S&P. He'll be starting at 9 a.m. New York time. He'll be going through S&P gold and USD yen, and he'll be talking about those and potential setups for tomorrow. Should be a good day of trading. And again, just watch this, watch cable, watch euro. I think we're going to see a drive back down into here. I think this is just a short-term retracement that Tuesday, that happened Tuesday, and I think the real target is going to be much, much lower. So keep an eye on that. It's already starting to trend out. So, and keep in mind, this could be one of those days that just runs. You don't really get any retracement. It just fires down. Let's see if I can find one of those just real quick. Those days they're great if you can get in to them, but they just don't offer you any opportunity sometimes to take advantage of it. Let me see if I can find one. I haven't seen one on maybe I'm picking a bad pair. Let's see if I can find one on cable here. Like it literally just right out of the Asian, right as soon as Asia closes, it just starts firing straight up. This was like a day, just kind of like this. You see this day here, where Asian range closes, and it doesn't spend really any time. It just keeps going just up, 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 up. Small retracement in here, yes, and then a big power move higher. But sometimes there's days, trading days like that, and they're not super frequent. But today's kind of seems like one of those days to me, where price just, like this one here, like just right out of the gate, bam, 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 and they just run it higher on you, take out the liquidity, and away they go. So that's kind of what today seems like. They came up and did the false move higher, hit a logical area in here and have rejected, and I think we are, like I say, I think these lows down here are going to be a target. So I'm going to be watching for that to play out here today. So, okay, that's it for me, guys. Hope you guys have a great Wednesday trading. Dave will be jumping on 9 a.m. New York time, so I'll send out the invite links for that. I'll probably actually send out those invite links about 10-15 minutes ahead, so anticipation for it. And just because I have to get my day started early, I actually have meetings first thing in the morning, so I got to be out the door. And I'm out of the office all day tomorrow. Unfortunately, I won't be in front of the charts, but Dave will be there for 9. I'll send the links. Hope you guys have a great day of trading, and we will talk to you then. Take care. Comb your hair.